Hey everyone, it's Mr. Barden here, and let me just hide that and pop this up. So, looks a little bit different than normal. Over this past week, I've been having some computer difficulties, so you can kind of see it behind me a little bit. I'm just at the other part of my living room. It should be up to date soon. I'm just in the process of, reinitiating the computer from a backup. Had some operating system issues. So, let's just hop right into that. What this video, which I'm recording on my laptop, is going to be all about the Paint app. Paint app 2022 with objects. I wanted to not forget to name that. And the Paint app is one of the projects in the Programming Digital Media course that is kind of the last big one that's included in the textbook as an application of everything that's come before it, before we start adding extra libraries of stuff. So I've got it right here. Paint app. Let's see if the one of the links needs to be fixed. I'll get on that. I thought we had fixed some of them, but apparently not. But the other one here works. Basically, what this is showing is that you can either make it with or without the objects and classes that we have over here. And that's what I'm actually going to be showing today. So basically what the point of this video is to show a fair bit of stuff, just that we can apply everything we have done in order to create something interesting. And that all the students have those skills. I usually do it as kind of like a walkthrough with my students. Just because it's the first big one. And that's kind of what the purpose of this video is to provide that kind of walkthrough of all the concepts. So I'm going to be giving this to my students as, if you're absent on the days, check out this video and go along with it. If a student needs to, review something or something somewhere got off and they were working on it, there's, again, this resource. So let's just hop right into it. Like I mentioned, we're going to be building an app that is very similar. You click and, drag and it paints, very similar to things like Microsoft Paint. And then we can change the outline color here. The canvas stops right there. But we can click and change the color and we can draw whatever we want using the mouse. So let's just get started. I'm going to start and put the background at completely white, which is just 255, that value. I'm then going to go and start by making a class. Class paint box. Boom. So we're going to make this, again, as a class. This class is going to be these little squares right here on the side of the screen. So we have to use the class to determine the various properties of them, where they are, what they look like. That'll be relatively straightforward. But then we also have to determine whenever the mouse has clicked on the boxes. And that's where things will become just a little bit more complicated. So let's just do it. We need a construct. Can't even spell. constructor. Constructor. All right. I'm also going to need to tell them to appear and the on click, like whenever we click it. Those are going to be the three main things we need to do. If we need to add another one, we will. So, boom. Constructor, we need to give the boxes an X. Actually, no, we don't. The X's will all be the same. We need to customize the Y and the color. Those are really the only things that really need to be customized. So this dot y equals y, this dot c. So we'll start with that. As for the appearance, we will say push and pop, just so things don't fight each other with the fills and the strokes and whatnot. And this is what we will need. So let's say that stroke is going to be this dot C for the color, and then fill will also be this dot C. If this dot C is equal to white, then stroke 0. Okay, so I just added a bit of stuff right here, and what I've done is essentially said we're gonna start making a shape. We're gonna want the outline of the shape to match the color of the shape. You'll notice right here there's no outlines on these shapes, but the white has an outline so you can tell it apart from the background, but it makes the white look a little bit bigger than all the others. So by adding a stroke of the same color to these, it'll make everything line up just nice enough. So again, if it happens to be white, then it'll have the black outline. Otherwise, it's going to match the color. So we've set the fill there. So we're going to say, draw a rect. And that rect will be at 0. And then this dot y will make it 50 by 50. And that should take care of most of that, at least for making it appear. We haven't made any yet, so let's do that. Let's test it, see if we can just get them onto the screen. So what I'm going to do is this. We're going to say let all colors be assigned to be an array, and we're gonna list all of these out. So we'll say black, red, blue, green, yellow. I'm just listing off colors. Purple, pink, and that'll be enough. So we'll end it with white. I like having white at the very bottom because it's kind of like an eraser. So for this assignment, I like to have my students make at least 6 different colors, and I think I picked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I picked 8. So as long as they have 6, that's fine. So those are going to be the colors. I'm just using presets to make life a little bit easy. So we've got all of that there. I'm also going to say let box. No, the box might be a function. Let C box for color box. And then inside of, I want to do this. Inside of setup is where we're going to do most of this. So I'm actually going to move the background into setup because we don't want the background to update. We want to be able to draw stuff on it. So we're going to put that there. And we're also going to say for, we're going to make a for loop and let I be assigned 0. I is less than 8. I plus plus. That should all work. So basically, we want to be able to generate multiple of these objects for our class. So we're just going to do this as a for loop, so we don't have to do it manually. That just takes too long and looks kind of gross. So C box gets assigned to be a new paint box with let's see, we give it I and then color. Yep. So I purposely did it like this so we could just say I times 50 for the height, because each box is 50 tall. So I times 50 for that vertical position. And for the color, this is what, all color? Yeah. All colors. But specifically, we're going to look at position I. So that's there. And then we should just be able to say color box dot here. And okay, we see one of them. So that's something. We're not getting any error. Oh, I just put it in the wrong section. That's what. Bracket problems. So this cbox.appear should be inside the bracket. I put it one line too low because we want to make sure it's still part of the for loop. And I just put it outside of that. So now we should see all 8 boxes appear. And conveniently, this is just the right size for the canvas. Everything lines up. I'm actually enjoying that kind of aesthetically. For this one, if you wanted to make your canvas bigger, you totally can. Like, maybe I'll make this a little bit wider. Oop, wrong one. You know what? I like the tall. Let's make it 6 by 6, and we'll end it there. There we are, just so you have actually room to draw on this stuff. So that's the first part, is we have now used a class to just draw specifically colored rectangles in a vertical line on the left side of the canvas. That part shouldn't have been nuts. As for clicking and dragging and drawing the line, it might be simpler than you're thinking. And to do that, we just need the line functions. So let's see, stroke. That's going to be something a little bit later, but for now I'm just going to put a placeholder of 0 to make it black. And line, we're going to draw a line between mouse X, mouse Y, the mouse's location, and these two system variables, which are very handy, but at least in this class don't come up a ton. And that is P mouse X and P mouse Y. And that is just the location of the mouse from the previous frame. We're able to check out, the previous location of the mouse and the current one. What this will mean is as I move my mouse around, this line will follow everything, exactly what we want to do. It's pretty handy. I want to make that a little thicker though. This stroke weight 3. Anyway, yeah, we'll leave it at 3 for now. All right. So we've got a few things to work on next. So I'm just going to kind of go down them in, the order that I see them. So the first is that we only want the line to appear when we are clicking and moving the mouse. So we're going to need a conditional statement. We'll say if mouse is pressed, then and only then will we draw that line. And I will just put that up onto line 29 inside of there. What I also like to do is add and mouse x is less than 50. And mouse x is greater than 0. There we are. So what this will do is we will click and be able to draw on the canvas. Ooh, that's not something's. I've got that backwards. Yeah, I've just got that backwards. I'm thinking of other things. If it's greater than 50 and less than, well, we really don't even need that, but so it's just if it's greater than 50. There we go. So now if we click, we'll click and drag, but we won't be able to, draw over this bit over here. The line stops at 50, which is kind of handy because, again, you can have as many colors as you want for this assignment. So if you want to just have a line of them, then that could work. And again, we aren't drawing over the lines. That's what I was wanting to get at. So, tidy that up. No, I don't want to save the web page. I want to save the sketch. There we go. Okay, so we can now draw our line. We have our colors. We can add them to the boxes right here. But we need a few other things. So we need to be able to tell when we have clicked on the box, and then have the color change according to that. So there's a few different ways we can go about that. I'm just trying to think of how I want to do it this time. We will probably end up doing this. So let's start just by making each box be able to tell if it is clicked on. So on click, we will say, see if, I clicked the wrong thing there. That should be a open brace. If mouse is pressed. There we go. I accidentally deleted that. Then we'll say if, and this one is just using some logic from that previous lesson. So if mouse x is less than 50 and mouse x is greater than 0. So if we're in that little, area where we can't draw before, and actually let's do it like this. We'll just nest another if mouse y is greater than this dot y and mouse y is less than this dot y plus 50. Then and only then will we be able to update some stuff. So just to break this down, we're going to do a few checks. So we're going to check and see, is the mouse pressed? If it's not pressed, we're not doing anything. If it is pressed, we will then look and see, is it specifically being clicked in this area horizontally? And then if it is, we'll see where it is vertically, if it's lining up with those things. Then and only then will we be able to say paint color gets assigned this dot C. Now paint color we haven't made yet, so that's what I'm going to do right now. Copy. Go up globally. let paint color be assigned black to start with. And then inside of this stroke right here, we're gonna, instead of making it always black, we'll fill it with paint color. So that's it on the surface level. We're missing one important part though, and that is being able to actually have the objects say, oh hey, yes, I've been clicked on. We need to do stuff with that. Actually do a thing, because right now, you know, every box has the ability to be clicked on and react in this exact way. However, we aren't telling them to. At no point are we saying, you know, box dot on click. So what we can do is this. We can say let all boxes become an array. Boom, we should make an array. And then inside of here, where if mouse is pressed, I'm going to tweak this actually and make it more like the nested conditional statements here. Because, I mean, well, actually, yeah, I will. I'll be tweaking a few things, actually. Because, believe it or not, I had no script for this video. I'm just kind of live coding this. So, if mouse is pressed, that'll be the first outer level. Copy. If mouse is pressed, if mouse is copy. Paste, there we are. So if it's there, we're gonna do the thing. Else, if mouse X is greater than 0, just so we don't click off the canvas and have stuff happen, and mouse X is less than or equal to 50, then and only then will we, this will be the this is where we're going to talk to the boxes. I'm just going to go down here and basically just remove this these outer tests, because we don't really need them because we're checking them outside. So I'm just going to boop, tidy up. And now there's a lot less brackets, and it's still going to do the same thing, but we aren't running those outer tests as part of the method anymore. We're running them up here in the draw function. So we need to be able to talk to all of our boxes, and there's a variety of ways we can do that, but the way I set up the for loop, it's acting a little weird. So what we should be able to do is this. I've made an array called all boxes, so we'll just say C box, or not, sorry, all boxes dot push C box. And I actually like the way that we'll be doing this kind of thing with the graphics library that we're about to use a little bit better, but for now it'll go. So what we should have is we've now again rendered all these boxes, and we've just put them into an array full of objects. So now we can go through that array and do everything we need to do. So let's see if I can remember this, and if not, we will find out. So all boxes, that's the name of our array, dot for each. So for each is essentially a bit of a thing we can do with an array that will do whatever we tell it to for every element in the array. And I think we just need to say is it this? terms of the formatting. I always mess up the arrow function formatting, but so instead we're just gonna array for each. I like looking at that one. Yeah, I always get these messed up. So for each, right here, copy, paste. And I usually just abbreviate element to E. And now whatever we put here will be our thing. So we can just say E dot on click. There we go. Let's tidy that up. So if I've done all of this right, and I think I have, we should see everything we need to have. So I'm going to refresh this. Again, it defaults to black because that's what I assigned it as. But if I click here, we should see red. Yes, and blue, and green, and yellow, purple, pink. And if I click on white, it should essentially act like an eraser. And it does. So that was a lot of the how. Let me just break all of that down, because again, I kind of went through this really fast in like 30 minutes. So going from top to bottom in my code, I think is how I'll start this at least. We'll see if I jump around. I've got an array of all of my colors right here. And you can have as many as you want. Just notice that the order of them is the order that they'll appear on the screen. I then have a few other things defined here. Just a variable that'll hold the individual boxes as they're made. A variable that will hold whatever the paint color is at that time. And then another array that's going to hold all of the boxes. Alright, so that's there. I've made my canvas a little bit bigger, and I've just set it to be pure white. This for loop is the next part of the setup function, is what's making all of these boxes and letting everything work. And actually, I think I'm gonna, instead of making this hard-coded 8, we'll say all colors dot length. So this is just a property of an array that tells you how long it is. So now if I run this, we should see, no real change. But if I wanted to go ahead and add, the orange here, it adds orange. Orange works. There we go. So we can tweak this main array at the beginning of my code to add or remove all the colors, and then this for loop will just automatically update. So that's what I decided to tweak right there. But we're just saying that CBox is a new object in the PaintBox class. I'm telling it to appear utilizing I to pick the color and the position. That's relatively simple, relatively straightforward. We're then just telling it to then draw to the canvas and add it to that array that's containing all of the boxes. In the draw function is actually pretty simple, and that is that we are setting the stroke, because again, stroke is what handles lines and outlines. We don't need fill for this, and we're setting it to whatever is inside of the paint color variable. So that's going to be the one that we have to update later on. I also made it a little bit thicker. The default stroke weight is 1. I made it 3, just so it pops out a little bit. You could make that whatever you want. I don't really care, as long as you can see the lines. The next bit I have here are some nested conditional statements. So this first one, we don't want anything at all to happen in this sketch unless the mouse is pressed. So that is the outer level, mouse is pressed right here. And then inside, we want to have one of two things happen, depending on if the mouse is pressed over here on the main part of the canvas or over here in this little color selection area. So I have if the mouse is greater than 50, so if it's over here, or I have it draw that line. Else, if it's over here, and you could get away with just saying else there, but I like doing else if just to be a little redundant. That way I can't accidentally click to the left of the canvas and have the color change when I'm not expecting it to. So I just was a little redundant with this one, just to be extra clear that when you're clicking in this area, something is going to happen. And when we do, all that's going to happen is we're going to look at all of the boxes, that array, and for everything in that array, we're going to say, every element, we're going to say, hey, element, run the onClick method. So if these elements don't have an onClick method, you're going to run into an error. But these ones all do, so we don't have to worry about that. As for what that onClick method is, let's just scroll down a little bit and look at the PaintBox class. So, for the constructor, we needed to be able to customize the vertical position of the squares and the color. So those are the two arguments I gave it. We could have set more properties with this dot width and height and all that, blah, blah, blah. I didn't bother because those things aren't going to change while this code is running. The appear, I just told it, hey, we're going to make a rectangle at this location. We're going to set the stroke for the rectangle to match the color. And again, that's just so that way everything lines up. Because if we said no stroke on these ones up top, then adding the black stroke around that white rectangle just makes it look a little bit bigger than the others. It makes it stand out. This way, they're all the same size. So we're setting the stroke and fill to match whatever the color is, which we give it up here when we make the boxes. We're just going to say look in the array, give it that color. But then again, because we want that white box to have a different a black outline, so we can actually tell it apart from the background, we said if it happens to be white, we're going to make it a black outline. Then I've just put all of this inside of push and pop. So that way, because I have a different stroke weight up here in the draw function, and I'm changing other stroke values, I just don't want them to fight each other. The last part of the code is this onClick method, which I have right here on the screen. And this is just saying that, hey, onClick, we're just going to see, is the mouse greater than this dot y, which is the top of the rectangle, and less than this dot y plus 50, which is the height of the rectangle. So if it is in between those values, then we know, because of the other horizontal stuff we did up top, that the mouse has to be inside of one of these objects. It cannot physically be anywhere else if these values are true. So we're just going to set the variable paint color, which I put way up at the top here to set the color of the stroke. We're going to set that to match whatever the color of that square is. And the end result is being able to click on the squares and change the color. So when I grade this, I just kind of say, okay, does the color change? Cool. Can I erase it with the white one? Awesome. There you are. This is actually way faster than the original way that I was taught to do this assignment, because then at that point you would have to manually, measure all the bits and say, okay, if the mouse is here, make it blue. If it's here, make it green, and so on and so forth. And there's just a lot more area for error. So I like doing it like this because it's less coding, it's pretty straightforward, and again, there's just less of an area for error. So this is where I'm going to end it. I'm going to pull up the never-ending pocket dimension. I don't like that I removed my leg like that. Hopefully I wasn't looking all gross the whole video. I'm never in this recliner while I code. But anyways, I'm going off on a tangent, so if you enjoyed the video, if you learned something, definitely consider, like, subscribe, all the stuff. I would love to know what colors you picked for your Paint app. I like seeing that, so definitely put that in the comments down below. And if there's anything specifically that you would like to see me doing in the future, I would love to, check that out. So put that in the comments as well. I have a playlist on my channel of, user and other student recommended codes and things that they requested. So if there's anything you would like to see me do on the channel in the future, put that in the comments down below. That's going to be it from me, and I will see you all the next time that I see you.